In the land of Egypt, during a time when Pharaoh ruled with great cruelty, there was a child who would rise to become one of the greatest prophets in history. This is the story of Prophet Musa, Moses, a man chosen by Allah to lead the children of Israel from slavery to freedom, a journey that would be full of miracles, trials, and lessons of faith. Musa was born in Egypt at a time when the Pharaoh feared the growing number of Israelites, the descendants of Prophet Abraham. He feared that they might one day overthrow his kingdom. So he issued a decree that all male babies born to the Israelites should be killed. But Allah had a plan. Musa's mother, fearing for her child's life, placed her newborn son into a small basket and set him adrift on the Nile River, trusting Allah to protect him. The basket floated down the river and was found by Pharaoh's own daughter, who was moved by the sight of the baby and adopted him as her son. Thus, Musa grew up in the palace of the very man who had ordered the killing of Hebrew infants. As Musa grew up, he became a strong and wise man. One day, while walking in the city, he saw an Egyptian man fighting with a Hebrew man. Musa, in defense of the Hebrew, struck the Egyptian and accidentally killed him. Realizing the gravity of his action, Musa fled from Egypt, fearing the wrath of Pharaoh. He traveled to the land of Midian, where he met two women who were struggling to water their flocks. Musa helped them, and they took him to their father, Prophet Jethro, who welcomed him. Musa stayed with them, married one of the daughters, and lived in peace for many years. Years passed, and Musa was tending his flock near Mount Sinai when something extraordinary happened. He saw a fire burning on the side of a mountain, but it did not consume the bush. When he approached it, he heard a voice calling him by name. It was the voice of Allah. Allah spoke to Musa, telling him that he had chosen him as a prophet to deliver his message to Pharaoh and demand the release of the children of Israel. At first, Musa hesitated, feeling unworthy and unsure of his ability to speak to Pharaoh. Allah reassured him by giving him signs. His staff could turn into a serpent, and his hand could turn white when placed in his cloak, as signs to prove his prophethood. Musa returned to Egypt, accompanied by his brother Aaron, whom Allah had made his helper. Together, they went to Pharaoh, who had become even more tyrannical. Musa stood before Pharaoh and demanded that he free the Israelites from slavery. Pharaoh, arrogant and proud, refused to listen and called Musa a liar. Musa and Harun performed the miracles Allah had given them, but Pharaoh rejected them as mere tricks. Allah then sent a series of punishments upon Egypt. The Nile turned to blood, swarms of frogs, locusts, and a plague of darkness. But Pharaoh's heart remained hard, and he would not let the people go. After the final punishment, Pharaoh reluctantly allowed the Israelites to leave Egypt. However, as they crossed the desert, Pharaoh's arrogance overtook him again, and he led his army in pursuit of them. When the Israelites reached the Red Sea, they were trapped between the sea and Pharaoh's advancing army. But Allah, in his mercy, commanded Musa to strike the sea with his staff. Miraculously, the waters parted, and the Israelites crossed to the other side on dry land. When Pharaoh's army followed them, the waters returned, drowning Pharaoh and his soldiers. After their escape, the Israelites began their journey through the desert, where they faced many trials. They complained about the hardships of their journey, but Allah sent them manna, a kind of heavenly food, and quails to sustain them. Yet, they continued to disobey and complain. Musa led them to Mount Sinai, where Allah called him to the mountain and gave him the Torah, a divine law for the children of Israel. While Musa was away, some of the Israelites, led astray by a man named Samari, began to worship a golden calf, angering Allah. Musa descended from the mountain to find his people worshipping the idol. Enraged, he threw down the tablets of the Torah and rebuked them. He called on the people to repent, and many did, but those who remained rebellious were punished. Despite their disobedience, Allah forgave them, and Musa returned to the mountain to receive the tablets once more. These tablets contain the commandments and guidance for the Israelites to live righteous lives. Musa continued to lead the Israelites through the desert, but their faith continued to be tested. They were afraid when they encountered the Amalekites and refused to fight, but Musa and his brother Harun encouraged them to trust in Allah's protection. Eventually, the disbelievers among them perished in the desert. Musa and the Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years, and during this time, the people continued to receive Allah's mercy and guidance. After many years, when the Israelites had reached the borders of the Promised Land, Musa passed away. Allah took him at the age of 120. Before his death, Musa had guided the people, delivered Allah's message, and instilled in them the values of faith, obedience, and righteousness. The life of Prophet Musa is a story of struggle, perseverance, and unwavering trust in Allah. From his miraculous survival as an infant to his confrontation with Pharaoh and his leadership of the Israelites, his journey teaches us that with faith in Allah, we can overcome any difficulty. Prophet Musa's legacy lives on in the Torah, in the teachings of the prophets, and in the lessons of resilience and trust in the face of trials.